We,
the American people,
are so far removed from the notion of poverty that it has been banished to the third world.
Our only notion of it is via our glamorous television screens.
Black and white images are displayed of garbage and dirty children in geographical locations.
So unknown.
So foreign that they might as well be from fantastical stories out of a best-selling fiction novel. That lifestyle is so gruesome,
So vile, so unjust,
that it cannot possibly be real.
After all, that's what the media does best.
Portray realities so incomprehensible and far-fetched.
We romanticize them while keeping them at bay.
Because this is a nation. More importantly, this is a first world nation.
Where the discussion, the mere acknowledgement of poverty has become taboo.
We've associated poverty with those commercials of dirty brown children without shoes or body fat, while a plaintive voice sings in the background for those of us who can hear her depressing melodies.
Poverty is a nation of houses built from cardboard boxes.
There are more beggars than there are choosers.
Disease is rampant.
Clean water is a privilege, we think.
There's so many things here to choose from.
By the time a family is in poverty, we are so far down into a hole that no matter what we do to dig ourselves out, we just pull more sand on top of us.
We
Don't know what it would take to eliminate poverty in this country.
Programs for the low income are the first to get cut when the government changes their budget.
The poor don't have a voice. These are not drug addicts.
Alcoholics.
Or lazy.
We are people who need a helping hand.
We are kids.
And we have no choice when it comes to the changes politicians want to make in our lives.
We just have to deal with the consequences of those decisions.
Poverty exists in Nebraska.
We bring you this message. We are your young.
Your youth.
Poverty is not our choice.
We do not wish to be invisible.
Hear us.
See us.
My name is Sierra Austin. I wish my mom was around more, and when she wasn't so tired and sad. I'd look up at the stands at my volleyball games and see her sitting there alone. I knew the life we had wasn't the one that she had imagined. She was just sad all the time. I had to get me and my younger brother up and ready for school. Sometimes we had breakfast, sometimes we didn't. It just depended on where Mom's paycheck fell in that month. I also would wish for a better house and that it wasn't so run down. I couldn't invite my friends over. The plumbing in the bathroom sink had gone bad and we had to wash our hands in the tub. We also had to make sure that we wore slippers if we were to get up in the middle of the night because these huge water bugs would crawl up the pipes and be all over the bathroom. You also had to make sure to watch where you stepped because there was a weak spot in the floor from water damage. If you weren't careful, you put your foot through the floor. I also would wish for a better room. There wasn't heat in my room, and the winters were really bad. I had a space heater to help, but Mom would turn it off as soon as I was asleep because it was a fire hazard and it ran the electric bill up. You could see your breath in my room. By 4th grade, I had my first job, out of necessity. My mom told me that if I wanted to keep the home phone, that I would have to figure out a way to pay for it myself. I always had jobs, paper routes, babysitting. I guess when poverty is all that you know, you don't wish for toys or gadgets. You wish for necessities. I wish I could have been more of a kid. I wish I didn't know such grown-up things at such a young age. I wish I didn't have to grow up so fast.
My name is Tiana Lewis. In kindergarten, my aunt bought me a new outfit with a white and gray skirt and pink top. I got compliments for my presentation. In first grade, I got a pair of bright pink sweatpants from the nurse's office that I loved. And it wasn't long before the other kids started asking where my mom had bought them. In second grade, the other kids in my class started to say that I smelled funny. But the heat had been cut off at my house, and the only way that I could shower was if I microwaved heavy ice cream buckets full of water and carried them through the kitchen and to the bathroom. In third grade, I had 2 sweatshirts that I had to wear every day. Even in the 98-degree heat, I had no other clothes to wear. In fourth grade, I couldn't play with the other kids because my shoes were too tight. My teacher said the only reason why I really didn't want to play was because I didn't like physical activity. In 5th grade, I wanted to get a new pair of shoes, but all of our money had to go towards food and bills. In 6th grade, I didn't want to tell my teachers where my winter coat was. The truth is, I didn't have one, because the one they tried to give me never fit right. In 7th grade, a mom of a friend of mine told me that I looked like an idiot at a choir concert, smelling of cigarette smoke in a used and tattered dress. I quit choir the next year. In 8th grade, I joined an art class, and the teacher told me I needed to present myself better. I started to think that I wasn't good enough for other people. In 9th grade, I joined the speech and debate teams. One of the judges told me that I needed to comb my hair and dress in more professional clothing. I wanted to tell them that I couldn't afford a hairbrush, let alone a fancy blazer. In 10th grade, I only owned 1 pair of jeans without holes in the thighs, and the school clothes closet never carried anything in my size. In 11th grade, I was too afraid to lose weight to be healthier because I would have to buy all new clothes, and that was way too expensive. But in 12th grade, I hold on to my clothes until the last possible second. I see other people throw away clothes with holes in them while I stitch mine together to the point where they look more like artwork. Some people look down on this, but I'm teaching myself to accept my uniquely quilted wardrobe.
My name is Arthur McWilliams IV. My brother tells me, if you want something, just take it. Mom, she won't care. Dad, he won't do anything. They don't live together anymore. They're separated. Be quick, my brother tells me. Don't wait too long. If you hesitate, you get caught. But what are they gonna do? The police, I'm just a harmless deaf kid to them. They come to my house, they meet my mom, they look at my house, and then they let me go. And I stand there while everyone's talking, and I go understand what they're saying. My mom, she doesn't know sign language. She doesn't know ASL. So how do we communicate? She points when she wants something. Or she says yes or no, or she smacks me in the head. And I go back out, and I take again. Money, I take that. Candy, I take that. Cigarettes, I take that too. Even if I don't need it, I'll still take it. I see a new bike over there, I take it. How am I supposed to get it? I won't have any money. My family, we won't have money. Sometimes we have no food at home. So I go to the store and I take that too. Being poor is not a choice. been in trouble many times. Maybe one day I turn 18, the police will come and lock me up. I go to jail. Or they'll look at me, and they'll look at my house, and they'll look at my family, and they'll let me go. And I go back out, and I take again. My mom smacked me again, and I go back out, and I keep taking again and again, and it's a never-ending cycle, and it doesn't stop. Because no one cares about poor, deaf kids.
My name is Rachel Merlis. It was hard to breathe when he lived with us. Every time we heard the key in the lock, we'd inhale. Mom, me, even the baby would quiet. She'd stop gurgling or whimpering and just listen. I got scared that she wouldn't inhale. I'd listen to her in her crib. I'd stand over her and look down, praying that her tiny chest would move as he stumbled in, swearing and reeking of alcohol. It was hard to sleep when he was in the apartment, in the kitchen, yelling at Mom about money as she tried to whisper at him, not to wake the baby. I wanted to tell her that the baby was already awake and so was I, but neither baby nor I could make a sound. We could hardly inhale. When he left for work in the morning, we'd gasp for air. The baby would start gurgling again, and Mom would make us breakfast. There wasn't much in the fridge. He spent all his money, and some of hers too, on the bottles in the cupboard. Mom had money hidden away. Not much, as much as she could keep from him, to buy food and diapers for the baby. I'd catch her counting it. I knew she was wondering if we could get away from him, but there was never enough. We were hungry and scared, but at least we had the apartment. Sometimes it felt like that was all we had. One day, when he left for work, he didn't come back. I could finally sleep, and the baby was gurgling, laughing, crying, like she was always telling me I didn't have to worry. She was breathing. Then, at the end of that month, the rent bill came. I guess he had been the one paying the rent because Mom's face fell when she saw it, and she got on the phone with her boss to say that she needed to work more hours. She started working the night shift. Not by choice. She couldn't buy much. Every penny had to go toward that rent bill at the end of the month. I stopped sleeping again. It's scary being the only one in the apartment, the only one there to make sure the baby is breathing. I can't make the bills stop coming. The only thing I can do is stand over the baby's crib, waiting for her to inhale.
My name is Sierra Austin. Graduating high school is hard. I'm currently working on visiting colleges, applying for admissions, and most importantly, applying for scholarships. Recently, I visited the #1 school I've been looking forward to going to this coming fall. My mom and I did the college visit, and as the tour guide was coming to a close, I could feel my mom grow tense. The next step in this visit was the financial aid office. As my mom and I stepped into the office, the financial aid officer quickly started talking about student loans. My mom then asked, "What about scholarships and grants?" taking notice that she did not talk about the Pell Grant. The lady simply said, "We're a private liberal arts school. You simply can't come here and expect not to pay anything," and abruptly ended the meeting. My mom, however, shook her head and said that we'd fill out paperwork to see how many scholarships and grants I qualify for. My dreams of going to this college are slowly diminishing.
My name is Aiden Marshall. Walk it off. Sleep it off. It's just a scrape. Brush it off. Get up. You're fine. It'll build character. I have heard these words 1,000 times growing up. At this point, these words are my mantra. I basically live by these words, and hopefully, I won't die by these words. You see, I don't like the word poor or the description of living in poverty. I like to describe myself as wealthy impaired. See, growing up, I didn't even realize I was wealthy impaired. And in fact, most of my friends were wealthy impaired. They would get free or reduced lunches in school. Sometimes that would be all the food they would eat that day. Some couldn't afford to go to the doctor or the dentist. Some couldn't even afford a coat for winter. Looking back now, I can see how ignorant I was towards all of it. I remember the first time the electricity shut off. It was in the middle of summer, and I was 16. My mom left for a week-long meeting, and I was in charge of the house. And boy, was I on top of it. I fed my brother, fed the dog, cooked, cleaned, did the dishes, mowed the lawn. I did everything. I was enjoying this idea, this responsibility of being an adult. And then there was a knock on the door. It was the gas company. They disconnected our gas. Well, not a problem, I thought. We'll just take quick cold showers. It'll probably be good for us. A day later, another knock on the door. It was the electric company. They shut off our power. Now, when your power and your gas turn off, it truly limits what you can do. I couldn't cook. I couldn't clean. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't even sit in my own house. It was a humbling and humiliating experience. A few years after that experience, the banks foreclosed on my childhood home. We were forced to move. We lost our house. And I'm still not completely over it. I remember the wall my mom would measure how tall me and my brother were getting. I remember the basketball hoop my dad put up in the backyard so I could work on my free throws. I remember the laundry chute me and my brother would put our Ninja Turtles down it for fun. We didn't lose a house. We lost part of our souls. When you read in the news about houses being foreclosed on, you forget that families live there. Families that were struggling to fulfill their American dream. See, wealthy impaired, it's not a choice. It's not a lifestyle. People are either born or forced to become wealthy impaired. This idea that we could become nothing to something, it's just that. It's an idea. A fever dream. This is not a reality. Not for millions of struggling Americans trying to make it paycheck to paycheck. There is no easy solution to get out of poverty. There is no Band-Aid, no quick fix, no duct tape. But there is something that we Americans are good at, and that's hope. We never give up on hope. Hope is always on the horizon. I hope one day I will no longer be wealthy impaired. And one can always dream. And isn't that what America's all about? Or maybe I should just walk it off.
My name is Tiana Lewis. She kept the suitcases ready, just in case. When I was a girl, I was fixated on adventure. The sun and the moonlight shining, I breathed unpredictability willingly for a while. Sometimes my mom didn't tell us where we would live next, and sometimes I didn't know where we would end up tomorrow. When I was a girl, I was fixated on adventure. We were explorers, excavating the city's cheapest apartment buildings. On our periodical safaris, we were chased by dangerous rent collectors. We were escape artists, slip-sliding on tightropes. No safety net below us, no house to call home, no life to call stability. But we kept pulling ourselves forward. For kids like me, trudging with heavy suitcases, it's sometimes difficult to keep from falling. When I was a girl, I fought more than societal setbacks. I fought the neighborhood kids who didn't like me upsetting the balance. I was a secret agent who negotiated with a fluffy white cat who sat at the bottom of my neighbor's shower where I took my baths. Kids like me hide their circumstances under clean bodies. I was an all-star champion who mastered the function of a Murphy bed, my slumber hidden away behind the wall, behind makeshift closet doors like a secret. I thought that if no one could see where I was sleeping, we wouldn't have to leave this particular apartment building, and I was always wrong. I was a social anthropologist, examining all of the new people I met where we planted roots. I knew to never plant mine too deep. I never put it past my mom to leave me behind. I could have been a marine biologist, trapped at the bottom of the ocean in another apartment building, drowning under the covers where my mom used to read books to me. The sun and the moonlight shining, I breathed unpredictability willingly for a while. I keep the suitcases ready, just in case.
The Book of Poverty contains no definition or synonyms for the word choice.
The following words and phrases will also not be found in the book.
Luxury.
Instant gratification.
Abundant.
Easy.
A peace of mind.
Poverty is a nation of disenfranchised souls.
Subject to marginalization and kept in ignorance.
While the cost of material things goes down,
And the cost of education and basic human necessities rises.
Poverty does not discriminate by choice.
So while the brown faces we see on television remain a significant representation of classism, racism, and all the applicable isms in the world, the truth is, poverty exists to keep the rich, rich, and the poor, poor, and education and good jobs a privilege.
allowed
Only to those who can afford it. Poverty exists
Beyond the barriers we erect to grant the American people the illusion
that poor people exist in other nations only.
Poverty is not a choice.
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 It's time to shatter the illusion.